Hey, what's up guys? This is JOSEF Salvador and welcome to my reaction video. And without further ado, let's get right into it. This time, I'm going to have a reaction video about the lesson 1 and 2, which is all about the microprocessor. So, let's start. Okay, we will have some comparison here. The microcontroller versus the microprocessor. So according to the definition here made by the lesson 1, a microprocessor simply consists of the processor, the ALU, which means arithmetic logic unit, the instruction decoder, and a few registers which are used to store data for mathematical and logical operations. It is said here that microprocessor also is an electronic component that is used by a computer to do its work, and it is containing of millions of very small components including transistors, resistors, and diodes at work. So that's how we'll do its process for doing some logical operation. So let's continue. A microcontroller includes a processor, the ALU instruction, decoder, registers, code storage, space, which is the flash memory or ROM, RAM, general purpose, input or output pins, timers, interrupt controllers, serial communication module, and etc. So it is a compact integrated circuit designed to govern a specific operation in an embedded system. Like in the example, so it includes a processor memory and input-output peripherals on a single chip. So that's the microcontroller. When we say microcontroller, it is a microprocessor but with some basic modules. Speaking of a microprocessor or the microcontroller, we have also have some components of it. So as we can see, CPU or the central processing unit is one of the component of the microprocessor or the microcontroller. The input-output, the bus or the area bus, and the data bus. It has been said that the address bus is used to specify as a physical address in the memory, while the data bus is used to transmit data among components in both directions. Therefore, the address bus is unidirectional while the data bus is bidirectional. So we have this other component, which is the memory, consists of RAM and ROM. So to know more about the RAM and the ROM, I will going to have some just a little description about it. It has been said that the RAM is a volatile memory that temporarily stores the files you have working on, while the ROM is non-volatile memory that permanently stores instructions for your computer. So let's continue. Here we can see the timer, the interrupt, serial port, and the parallel port. Okay, we are here now on the general purpose microprocessor. So as we can see, there's a chart of a general purpose microprocessor. As we can see, here is the general purpose microprocessor part, and the upper is the data bus and the lower is the address bus. So next. So as we can see here is the 8051 or the Atmega 8 PIC 18F4554. So what is 8051 microcontroller? So it is designed by the Intel in the 1981. It is the 8-bit microcontroller. It is built with 40 pins, DIP, dual or the dual inline package, 4 kilobyte of ROM storage, and 128 bytes of RAM storage. That are the components of the microprocessor or the microcontroller. So we can see on that picture. So next. So let's continue. It's all about the microcontroller now, and it is a single chip computer and an on-chip with a RAM, ROM, or the input-output ports. Here are the examples of the microcontroller. So the Motorola 6811, the Intel 8051, that's what I've discussed earlier, and the Z8 and PIC16X. As usual, we can see the components inside of it, which is very common to the microprocessor and microcontroller. So proceed. Next is the another picture of a microcontroller. So we have some comparison here, the microprocessor versus the microcontroller. So first, we're going to fight for the microprocessor. Microprocessor have the CPU is standalone, RAM, ROM, and input or output timer are separated. The designer can decide on the amount of ROM, RAM, and the input output port. Next, expensive. Microprocessor is expensive. Next is the versatility. Okay, next. Next is the general purpose. High processing power. We can see that microprocessor has the high processing power, high power consumption, and instruction sets focus on the processing intensive operations. Typically 32 to 64 bit, and typically deep pipeline 5 to 20 stages. So let's see about the microcontroller. What's he got? Microcontroller has the CPU, RAM, ROM, input and output, and timer are all on a single chip. So they have some similarities, but not all of that components are the same with a microprocessor. Fixed amount of on-chip ROM, RAM, and the input-output port. So here at the microcontroller, it is now fixed amount. For the application in which cost, power, and space are critical. So microcontroller have a critical spacing, I think, for the size of it. Next is the single purpose. When we say about microprocessor, it's about general purpose. When single purpose is about microcontroller. So single purpose, which is the control oriented. So low processing power, not like the other one. Low power consumption, because low processing consumption. Because low processing power, so it is also a low power consumption. Bit level operation, instruction set focus on the control, and bit level operation. Typically 8 to 16 bit, not like the microprocessor, which is the 32 or 64 bit. Lastly is the typical single cycle two-stage pipeline. We can see a very big difference in just looking at their power consumption. Okay, we have here now the some popular microcontrollers, which is the 8051, the microchip technology or the technology PIC, Atmel AVR. So we have the picture here, the Atmel AVR, and the Texas Instruments MS-P430, and it is 16-bit. Okay, let's proceed on the another topic, which is about the historical background of Intel microprocessor. So talking about the historical background, so we'll look back on how it is evolutionized time to time. We have here the Intel 8086 or the 8088. Year of introduction is 1978 for 8086 and 1979 for 8088. So it is a 16-bit microprocessor. The data bus width of 8086 is a 16-bit and 8-bit for 8088. It has 1 megabyte main memory and 400 nanoseconds clock cycle time and 6-byte instruction cache for 8086 and 4-byte for 8088. Other improvements include more registers and additional instructions. In 1981, IBM decided to use 8088 in its personal computer. Okay, another is the history background of Intel 8186. Year of introduction is 1982. It is a 16-bit microprocessor upgraded version of 8086. So the Intel 8186 is never been used in the PC, but it was ideal for systems that required a minimum of hardware. So next is the Intel 8286. The year of introduction is 1983. It is a 16-bit high-performance microprocessor with memory management and protection. 16 megabytes main memory, so much higher than the usual memory before, which is the 1 megabyte. Now the memory is 16 megabyte. Few additional instructions to handle extra 15 megabyte. Instruction execution time is as little as 250 nanoseconds. Concentrates on the features needed to implement multitasking. So yeah, as we can see that it is a 16 megabyte main memory, so it can handle more instruction or more data, and we can do much work on that. So it can handle multitasking. Next, it is now is the Intel 8386. The year of introduction is 1986. It is the Intel's first practical 32-bit microprocessor. So compared before that we have a 4 and 8-bit microprocessor, now we got this 32-bit in this year 1986. It is a 4 gig main memory, and improvement include page handling in virtual environment. So virtual environment is existing in this year 1986. Includes hardware circuitry for memory management and memory assignment. And the last is the memory paging and enhanced input-output permission. And additional to this, for me, it can handle multitasking also because of its size and the bit that it is because of its performance. You can see it's 32-bit. And this has been called Joseph Salvador, and thank you for watching.